Welcome, guys. You know that I've been thinking a lot lately about leadership and what it actually means, not just in the big picture sense, like building companies or managing people, but in the quieter, more personal way. The way we lead ourselves through change, through challenge, and through growth. For me, conscious leadership has been about learning to slow down, to listen, and to lead from awareness, to be present with the choices I make and the energy that I bring and the people that I'm connected to. But leadership doesn't always look like that for everyone. My guest today, Matt, brings a completely different lens to the conversation, one rooted in focus, precision, and discipline. He's the founder of a real estate media agency that has started with photography and has grown into a full service operation for realtors. Everything from drone footage to floor plans to video production and social media management. What's fascinating about Matt is the way that he approaches leadership from a place of deep logic and consistency. He's not led by emotion, rather, he's led by clarity and drive. And while that's very difficult from how I move through the world, it also makes this conversation so powerful. Because conscious leadership isn't one size fits all. It's not just about being spiritual or intuitive, it's about awareness awareness of yourself, your patterns, your purpose, and how you choose to move through life. So today we're exploring that middle ground where structure meets spirit, where logic meets flow, and where being conscious can simply mean showing up with intention even when life is loud. So this is Still with Sara. So welcome, Matt. Thank you so much for coming on my podcast and chatting with me today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. We've definitely go back a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, really excited to kind of dive in and get in some of the topics that you definitely know a lot more about than I do. So maybe we can kind of balance each other out with, I guess, some of the part of my mindset that you enjoy, and definitely really like to take a look into your lens of spirituality on things and your lens that you look through life.
Oh, thanks, Matt. You're so sweet. Well, I'm really excited to have you here today, and I guess let's just start at the beginning. How did you get into real estate media, and what inspired you to start your own agency?
So to begin with, I grew up in a pretty real estate focused family. So everybody from my parents to my grandparents were either real estate agents or brokers. So I was pretty familiar with the industry. They've had pretty good success, pretty well off, not anything like upper class or anything like that, pretty middle class, but have made a lifestyle out of it, able to go on vacations, be able to support us as a family off of almost single income at times. So was a really good way to make money. And when I was in college around age 21, 22 or so, I began looking into outlets, or I'd say inlets actually, to get into the industry. So acquired my real estate license, starting to learn everything from laws, regulations, where to get started, how to hang your license under a brokerage, getting into sales as well. And going into a career that was commission only from a standpoint where I basically had to just take a leap. There's no hourly, you're an independent contractor. It's pretty scary to me. So I went through the hassle of actually taking classes, getting my real estate license, so taking an exam and actually getting licensed, to then being kind of afraid to jump into the deep end of the pool and start selling real estate. So I wanted to do something that was adjacent to real estate, which was real estate photography. So, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's in the title. I take photos and now up to videos and doing social media management for real estate agents, but started off just doing photography. So I picked up a camera at a computer store that I worked with at the time and still work with now. Picked up a camera and decided, hey, let me reach out to local real estate agents over Instagram, see if they would be open to me taking pictures of their newest listing that they're trying to sell. And then I would basically sell them those photos. And it's been a business for quite a while now, ever since, the advent of Zillow and these other multiple listing services, websites, apartments.com. But yeah, still kind of a side hustle, something that I'm developing and continuing to grow. But yeah, that's how I started. I just didn't want to jump into the deep end of selling real estate. I still wanted to be able to go out and make sort of an hourly, or at least sell a service, And then I've always had kind of an entrepreneurial mindset where I wanted to start something new. I wanted to build something, whether it was a brand or, maybe not necessarily reinvent the wheel, but kind of have some artistic touch to it, where I could actually have input on what I create and get paid for it. I think it's pretty cool. So yeah, that was basically my start. And now coming up in December, we will have entered our full transition into a full service media agency. So now focusing
Exciting.
more on video. Yeah, it's super exciting. It's been a long time coming, but returning to social media to kind of announce a lot more video content. So functioning more like a marketing agency more than just a photographer now. So growing the brand that way. But yeah, that was basically my start. I just wanted to get into real estate, but not all the way in. And I've found, being my own boss and working in a way that I control my hours and my schedule, and
Mhm.
I'm also, depended on by other people, which is, I mean, guess a sneak peek into the leadership aspect of the business. Um, I don't know. It's been really, really rewarding, and it feels really special when I get a good review or a tip or a client refers me to somebody else.
Mhm.
I guess I've always been interested in business. I've always been interested and been around real estate, and I think I just kind of combined those two things to be able to start what is now a full service real estate media agency.
That's so cool. And I love to see like the evolution of all of it. It's such a like a dynamic expansion of from where you first started to now where you are, and being able to just kind of like actively manifest it into what you want it to be. I really love that again, you can take little pieces of, real estate and be able to implement that and expand it out to what you want to do with the social media aspect of it. Um, and being able to not lose your creativity side rather than have like an outlet to be able to do that and help other businesses and stuff with their brand. I think that's really awesome. For me, trying to like do social media management myself, trying to like figure it out, like mad respect because it's a lot of work. And being able to have like clients that you're doing multiple, I'm just doing it for myself right now and I'm stressed out. So like the fact that you're being able to do this for multiple companies and expanding your business, it's really inspiring. So it's really cool to see. What's that growth phase been like for you personally and professionally?
Mhm.
From where you started to where you're at now?
I would describe the process as something that was pretty gradual, but will pick up the more effort that just more effort and time that you decide to put into it. Um, Starting from zero, it was literally just, and still to this day, when I work with somebody for the first time, something that I do totally for free. I just want to show, um, you know, what I can do, give people a trial of my service. And if they like me, they can use me again. That's kind of the concept of the business. I started it with a foundation of, and I think this really applies to any successful service-based business or something where you're selling a good or a product. Um, is the theory of, and I forget who taught me this. It was some business professor, maybe when I was in school. But the process of the three R's in a business, which are, God, I'm gonna have to dust off my brain for this one, but it was required, repeat, and referral. So the first pillar of the business being required. So a service that is required, whether that is, in the food industry, when people need to eat, or in the roofing industry, people, can't have leaks in their house. Or for my business specifically, when you sell a home, you have to have pictures, whether those pictures are with an iPhone or Polaroid or a professional camera, DSLR like we carry. It's something that's required. Second R of the three R's would be that it is a referral based business. So if I help somebody out, that real estate agent knows other real estate agents. They work in an office with sometimes hundreds of other real estate agents. They refer me out. So, hey, I worked with this guy. He was great. He's fantastic. That referral business really, really helps with the growth. And then the third R, we had required, we had referral. The third one is repeat. So we have returning customers. It's not like wedding photography where, if a couple's getting married, God willing, they're not going to get married again, right?
Right.
So you work with them that one time and that's it. where in real estate photography or real estate media, an agent sells a home and if all things go well, they sell another home or
Mhm.
list another property for rent or something like that. So, I mean, when it comes to my growth process, it was looking at it from a business lens. What could I build the foundation of my business off of to be able to create sustainable and a predictable amount of growth while still working another job, maintaining control on my schedule, my time, um, and also being transparent with the people that I work with to say, hey, like I booked up this day, like this is all that I have. It's like I can try to, do my best when it comes to customer service, not cut any corners or anything like that. But as far as my growth mindset, I mean, it started as strictly business lens, like, okay, how can I make this work? And how can I scale the business kind of not exponentially, more so on like a linear side where, okay, help this person out. Hopefully they refer me to one or two people. And then, reach that next step without having to, worry about plateauing or running out of time or anything like that. So I've maintained a good level of control, but all that begins with my foundation of my business philosophy, I guess, is having a predictable income, good way to get clients, and helping people out helps me out. I only win if they win. That's going to be more of my mindset. It's just kind of the business lens. I'm not grounded in anything else beyond that, really. I may get tired, but yeah,
Yeah.
most of the growth side of things is okay. How can I level up my video game character, so to speak?
Yeah,
Just
there's a method to the madness.
100%.
Yeah. So I remember when we were first talking, and kind of doing like pre-interview questions and stuff before we set this up. And I remember like one thing that really stood out to me when we first talked was when you were talking about social media and that like some of the realtors that you'd worked with, are making millions of dollars, but they only have like a couple hundred followers. And I found that really fascinating, especially in this age where everyone's chasing numbers. So, what do you think that that says about how we define success today?
Well, I can only speak through the lens of social media management, social media marketing, so that side of things. Even when it comes to cold outreach in my business, I'm not somebody who's cold calling. I don't even send cold emails. What I do send is cold DMs or direct messages over Instagram. So I can only speak from the social media lens. That's what I have the most amount of experience in, right? I'm not on a dialer or anything like that. But when it comes to success, there's obviously what you have and what you show. Social media has definitely tainted that a lot
Yeah.
since the advent of it, starting, 2008, 2009, Facebook comes onto the scene, but one of the things that I always stress to my clients when I help them with, say, a video or even just a listing flyer, if you follow any real estate agent, you will see a listing flyer on their Instagram saying open house, here are the pictures, here's my name on it, here's the phone number at the bottom. It looks like a Canva template effectively. Those are definitely not super effective ways to gain engagement, but
Mhm.
um, posts like that, or it could be a educational real estate post or something like that. What I always tell my clients that I help out with these things is that you should always put conversion over clout, right? You're not there to, some people are. If you've watched a reality TV show called Selling Sunset, a lot of people are after
Oh,
clout.
yeah. Yeah, I've heard of that
Uh,
one.
yeah, it's an interesting one, but a lot of people are after clout, which is okay. If that's your end goal to hit 100,000 followers, 200,000 followers, a million followers, if
Sorry.
that's your goal, you're all good. Um, then by all means, But a lot of people that I work with are just kind of fed up with traditional ways of finding new clients. So either
Yeah.
cold calling, knocking on doors, sending out physical mailers like postcards in your mailbox. Um, they're fed up with these methods that are just outdated and don't work anymore. And when they come onto social media and maybe they film a video just like this, I'm sitting in front of a camera, I have a bright light in my face, and I'm just talking to my camera here. Maybe I have a script, maybe I don't, maybe I'm just winging it. And they'll post a video like that, and it might do, if they have little to no followers and it's their first one, it might do 100 views, might do 50 views, it might do 200 up to 500. Usually they're never breaking 1,000 if you don't have much of a following. And they get discouraged by that. They get discouraged by the low like count, the low follower count. But what matters more is the actual conversion. How many people are interacting with your post? What is your click through time? So are people scrolling on your video, watching 2 seconds of it, and then swiping out, or are they watching the entire thing? Because if you have 300 people watching 100% of your video and actually taking a moment to understand what you're saying, maybe they're learning something from it, maybe they are dropping a like or a save, or maybe they're just thinking about your content and they consumed your content and start to finish. I would take that all day over somebody just kind of swiping through my stuff. Maybe they laugh at a funny meme. I've helped agents come up with a meme that might do 50,000 views, but it will do 0 in leads, right? They'll send it to their friends, they'll send it to their group chat, but it's not actually making them money. So when it comes to success in the real estate industry, from an agent standpoint, is usually measured in GCI, or gross commission income, how much money that they're making. It's measured on that scale, right? And if your viral videos that might do 10, 20, 50, 100,000 views aren't actually getting you leads that are going to convert into sales, then what are we doing, right?
Right.
So, that's the lens that the realtors that I work with measure their success on, is really their gross commission income. And I'd say most people in society now measure their success on their income, which, I mean, that's a whole nother conversation, whether that's a good thing or not. But I think it says a lot that I do work with some agents, as you mentioned, that may crest over $1 million in GCI, or gross commission income, and only have 200, 300, 500 followers. And if they've gotten any leads through social media, it's not like they're getting 1 million views on their video, but it's going to the right audience. People are watching from start to finish, and they're engaging in content. They're saving it, they're messaging you, they're giving you a call, or shooting you an email, or leaving you a follow based on something that they saw that converted, as opposed to just getting the clout and the views and the attention.
Right.
Which, I mean, they can both come in the same package, but usually it's not really the case in my industry, in my experience at least.
Yeah, and I love that perspective because it's such a reminder, that it's not about like being loud or for the sake of virality. It's being effective and aligned and clear about your purpose and your message.
Yep.
To the point where like it's impactful, and like you're saying, like you're not wasting your time, you're not wasting your energy,
Mhm.
and just necessarily just doing busy work and not really driving any results. So
Right.
I love that. I love that. Something that fascinates me about you, Matt, is your discipline, the level of discipline that you have. You said that you work, when we talked previously, about like 8 to 10 hours a day, 6 to 7 days a week. That's serious dedication. Okay. So where does that drive come from for you?
Um, it's a good question. I don't know. I grew up an athlete, so I always grew up, um, going through school. Had pretty decent grades, but I was also an athlete. I grew up playing hockey, so I'd go to school 5 days a week, but then I'd also practice 4 days a week as well. And then I had games or tournaments on the weekend. Like, I've always been on the go, so I guess it's always been a normal thing for me. To just always be going. There wasn't really, outside of the pandemic, any moment where I've just kind of stopped and not really done much,
Hmm.
or had off days. So it's just kind of the speed that I've always been going at. I think once you get acclimated to that amount of work, which, yeah, it can definitely feel like a lot of times, especially if you go 10, 12 days without any break. I'm
Right.
talking like not even being able to sleep in. Um, just, or a single day where something isn't, you're not taking a step forward in your business, your career, your side projects, something around the house. Like, I guess growing up, it was just instilled in me that, every day you should get something done. Even if you don't have work or school scheduled, whatever it is, you should get something done. I was always, told to make your bed at the beginning of the day, get something done, feel better about yourself, or, after getting out of high school and getting out of collegiate sports was okay. Make sure you go to the gym, like get that hard thing out of the way.
Mhm.
You'll feel better about yourself. So just getting something hard done every day really, really helps out with, I mean, I don't want to say mental health, but like your mentality,
Oh, yeah.
um, and being able to attack the rest of the day and kind of feel good about yourself when your head does hit the pillow. I mean, it's not like I don't sleep, you know. I still will go out and do fun things. I think, I'm not a total robot, but
No, you're very dedicated to what you do, and you have a clear goal. And really successful people, they are obsessed with what they do. So it's like you're very inspirational to people that are watching and stuff as well, that are trying to start their own business or grow their social media and all this stuff. You're a walking embodiment and an example of what you should be doing. You know what I mean? So you should be proud of that.
absolutely, I appreciate those kind words. It means a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that's the last thing you said there. I should be proud of it. I mean, I think that's the one thing that I chase too, more so than having like a direct, I don't know, number to hit, whether that's an income or amount of clients
Hmm.
or any sort of sales metric or anything like that. Is at the end of the day, I just want to be proud of myself. It's not about
Yeah.
chasing happiness or a specific figure or anything like that. It's more so like, okay, have I done something today where I can actually be proud of myself? And if I don't have work, I don't have clients or anything, did I go to the gym? Did I clean the house? Did I run some errands? Did I fix this thing that's been broken for a while? If you can muster the courage to do something where you can feel pride at the end of the day, I think that's what it comes down to.
Oh, 1000%. So with all of this going on, and you're constantly on the move, how do you manage your stress and emotions when things get intense? I know when we were talking previously, you're like, I just get things done and I just keep going, So talk to me about that for a second.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my media agency is something I do on the side, so not putting a whole lot of man hours into it myself. But when I have both jobs kind of going at the same time and maybe something going on in my personal life, so I have these different layers of perceived stress in my life or chaos or static in my brain, um, I'm able to kind of alleviate the feelings from that by using the value of both gratitude and perspective. Where, I think about people that may not have access to the internet or running clean water or electricity or anything like that. And I'm blessed enough to have those things. So, not to say that I always do that when I have a lot of things going at once, but I think people always have bigger fish to fry. Um, I think I'm pretty blessed and in a position where, I have a roof over my head. I make pretty decent money, more than livable. I live in Southern California. Um, there's not a whole lot of place or there's not an area in my life where I can look at it and say, you know what, there's somebody who's doing so much better than me, and I should feel stressed. Like I don't find myself having a reason to stress even when I have a lot of things going on at once. And I think I'm able to kind of take a step back and look at a bird's eye view of my life and say, hey, it's really not that bad, even though I have a lot of things going on at once. That's how I'm able to kind of, I guess, stay grounded. It's just using the value of perspective, and then just, I mean, being blessed enough to not actually have something like a mental health issue or disorder where I have an anxiety disorder or depressive or anything manic or anything like that. Like I'm blessed there, So being able to have that as well as using perspective. I mean, I'm able to stay pretty grounded that way. Not a total robot, but I think I can use those things to, take a step back and reflect.
Yeah, yeah. And at the end of the day, it's what works best for you, right? And how you are able to function through the world. So it's really cool that you have kind of found your secret sauce. You know what I mean?
100%.
So I want to get into growth and expanding perspective. I know that we talked about some resources and stuff if people were curious on what they wanted to do to expand their mindset, and um, just wanted to kind of share some of that on here. So, books like Think and Grow Rich or Rich Dad, Poor Dad are really good ones, or even The Law of Success is a really good one. So, you've built your agency from the ground up, and now you're leading a team and expanding your services. So, what principles guide your leadership as you grow?
When I take a look at leadership in my own business, I think I look at it through a slightly different lens of what I believe the definition of leadership to be. I think in my personal life, whether it's helping a friend or some sort of interpersonal relationship or within my day job, um, I believe a lot of what leadership is leading by example.
Mhm.
Um, and by lead, that implies that others will follow. And I think the best way to kind of not insert yourself as a leader, but assert yourself as a leader is to lead by example. Get the thing done that you want others to do. So that could be in your day job, that could be in your personal life, that could be in parenting, for example, is to lead by example. Now, my own business, in my experience, I think I lead with, I'd say, from a lens of professionalism. I think I'm pretty professional with the people that I work with. I mean, I do work with people that make multiple six figures a month. So they definitely have the status to use just about anybody. But I'm not only professional, but courteous, respectful. Um, responsive with communication as well. I think when you have all those things in a service-based business, it's hard not to be a leader, if that makes any sense.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I think that's what I lead with in my own business is a lens of kind of punctuality and professionalism. Always on time. I'm responding to phone calls, text messages, emails. I mean, those are things that I do on the daily. Just about every hour, I'll have something come in for whatever it is, right? But being as attentive as I can, because at the end of the day, it's a service based business for another effectively service-based business. So I think I lead from a lens of professionalism and then just punctuality. I think leading by example and showing that, hey, I'm going to be here, I'm going to be present for you, I'm going to be as hands-on as I can. People respect you and follow your lead with creative direction or advice with marketing or even advice in sales, where I'm technically in a marketing position working with the sales professional, and they might take sales advice on something that I've done in my company that might work for their business, right?
Right.
So that's where I lead from when it comes to my business. I think that's a little bit different than how I might lead with, a loved one, a family member, something like that. Is I'm not, obviously not as stone cold robot professional. Going to be a lot more compassionate. Um, so I think there's different aspects of leadership that you can have in your life, and it can have an array of different faces or looks. But that's kind of how I split it up in my own life.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I've dealt with that too, for myself in leadership, with just adjusting for different communication styles and how you have to approach certain things given, just the type of structure of the relationship. And that's healthy boundaries too. You know what I mean? And with having the type of service that you provide to your clients and giving them, like, the A plus service, that is going to be um, something that they're going to share word of mouth and giving you further referrals. And as your business continues to grow, that's just an everlasting impression that you're leaving on people. So that's really awesome.
Right. Yeah. 100%.
If someone is listening, that is in that space where they're building something big but feeling disconnected or burned out, what advice would you give them about finding alignment without losing momentum?
That's a good question. Hmm. I think a lot of my own experience in having my own business with that has just been associating myself with the brand more. So kind of treating it like it's my baby, if that makes any
That
sense.
makes so much sense. Yeah.
A pet or something like that, is that you have to nurture it. I think connecting yourself with the identity of the brand, but also not so much so where you're letting your emotions cloud your judgment with business decisions. Finding that happy medium is going to be really, really important. And then also, I mean, in my experience, I mean, most of my experience within my own business has been, I mean, the lens that I look at it through would be business or financial, right? It's like, okay, I want the side hustle to make X amount of dollars a month, or hey, I want to reach this amount of clients per week, per month, per year. I set these goals, and I don't know, I just go after them. I treat life like a video game where, I mentioned earlier, I just want to level up my character. And
Mhm.
I think that's what it comes down to, is kind of treating it like either a video game, you want to get to the next level, or a, a child, a pet, something that you're going to nurture without getting overly emotional. I'm not sure if I can speak to or put into words how I'm able to kind of put that in my own mindset. It's something that's a bit difficult to explain and put into words, but yeah, I mean, when it comes to experiencing burnout, or kind of losing passion or love for it, um, it comes down to what your goals are too, right? I mean, if you're experiencing burnout after a month and just barely getting things set up, or maybe you've been doing it for 6 months, a little bit longer, and you're just falling out of love with both the process. Um, I won't even speak to the results or anything like that, because in 6 months, it's not like you're going to have much of anything. I mean, these things take time. Um, but if you're feeling burnout or losing love right away, I mean, it might just not be for you. Not in a bad way to tell people to quit early or anything like that, but you should start with something that you are extremely passionate about, that you just have fun doing. I mean, my business may sound really, really, really boring to some people, but I mean, I look at it as, hey, I get to go see this $7 million property in Laguna Hills today. Absolutely gorgeous. I mean, I feel like I'm in a real estate reality TV show where I get to tour these properties. These agents are letting me in everywhere, and then I get to do this really cool thing where, I'm taking a pretty picture and it may look bland there, but after editing or enhancing or virtual staging or doing like a sunset picture, like the finished product is just really, really cool. And I'm just passionate about what I do. So, my advice to somebody feeling burnout, is to really just kind of have that inner monologue and interview with themselves, is like,
Yeah.
do I really care about this? Am I really passionate about this? Or am I just doing this because, my parents are pressuring me to do this, or, this was just something, that a responsibility that was handed on top of me or something like that, kind of like maybe a pet, somebody was
Mhm.
getting rid of a dog they didn't want anymore, and you're like, I'll take him, or is it something that you actually sought out to go to the pound and pick up the dog or the cat, fall in love with them entirely, and you want to nurture that, right, without being overly emotional, of course, because it's a business or whatever you're trying to pursue. But I don't know, that's just kind of how I look at it, is to kind of nurture it like a child or a pet.
It makes total sense. It makes total sense. A lot of entrepreneurs that I talk to, they're always like, "My business is my baby." So I completely understand. And I love what you said too about, taking a moment for reflection to really like check yourself. Like, is this what I want to do? Is this just my ego getting in the way? Like, like what is it? And kind of get back with the program, so to speak. So lastly, I actually have the question that's kind of like a part of this whole series is what I'm asking everyone. When you hear the phrase conscious leadership, what does that mean to you?
It's a good question. I think it goes back to what I was mentioning about how I look at leadership within my own life, my professional, my personal life. And conscious leadership to me is just, I mean, you take the word conscious, I mean, it's really just awareness, awareness of where you're at in your own life, right? What you mean to other people, or what you don't mean, the lack of meaning to other people, where you want to go with your own leadership in either your professional or personal life. And conscious leadership to me, I mean, within my business and personal life, is just being aware of where I'm at in each stage, right? When I first started, I didn't have the same level of authority in the industry that I do right now. Same thing in my personal life. Whether it's a significant other or a family member or even a close friend that, I just met or just started dating, or there's a certain, family speed bump, something going on, right? Being conscious of where I'm at in that situation and then leading the right way. Sometimes it's okay to not be in the driver's seat. It's okay to be in the passenger seat or even the back seat, but as long as you're giving, proper directions without backseat driving too much, or just doing things that aren't helpful, either verbally or taking specific action. I think conscious leadership is just being aware of where you're at in whatever situation's going on. So I think it's a big awareness thing, to not necessarily overstep boundaries or outshine the master. If you want to refer to 48 Laws of Power, which I'm sure you've probably heard
Oh,
of the
yeah.
book by Bob Green.
Mhm.
Um, I think conscious leadership is just it has a lot to do with awareness and where you're at in any given situation.
I love that answer too, because I'm always curious to see like what it means to everybody. So it's you hit the nail on the head with that one. That's awesome. Now, I wanted to get your information in here before we end our show. So if anyone is interested in doing business with you, following you on social media, inquiring about anything, how can they find you?
Cool. So primarily just going to be on Instagram. I'll leave my email here as well, if you want direct contact with me and my company website as well. But on Instagram, our username is Belmont Multimedia. That's BELMONT Multimedia on Instagram. That's also our website, belmontmultimedia.com. And then my email, my name is Matt or Matthew, whatever you want to call me. But my email is Matt, M-A-T-T, at Belmont Multimedia, if you want to ever email me directly.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt. And I'll put all the information on the screen too, wherever I can fit it.
Yeah,
And we'll put it in the description and all that,
cool.
so everybody can get your information. So just thank you so much for joining me today and talking about conscious leadership and your perspective, as well as giving us a background with your company. What I loved most about this conversation was how it redefines what consciousness looks like. It's not all about meditation, emotional depth, and all of that. Sometimes it's just about focus, about clarity, about showing up with full awareness of your purpose, even when you're tired or even when the world is just noisy. Conscious leadership can look like stillness, but it can also look like action and discipline, like getting up every day and moving towards something meaningful. Matt's approach is a reminder that awareness doesn't always have to be felt. Sometimes it's practiced. It's built into the habits and systems and choices that shape our lives. And maybe that's what leadership really is, not about just being perfect, but like you said, about being present, about being intentional in the way that we create, connect, and lead, whether that's in business, relationships, or personal growth. So, Matt, thank you so much for sharing your focus and drive with us today. And you've given us such a grounded example of what it means to be conscious through consistency. And to everyone listening, I hope that this conversation invites you to explore your own balance between heart and head, between emotion and logic, and between feeling and doing. So until next time, stay aware, stay aligned, and stay still with Sara. Bye, guys. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me.